fit, formidable, and fantastic.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the third Q&A session, this time in celebration of surpassing 3,000 subscribers. Let's get started! This first question comes from the golden one. Advice on foods to eat for my 10,000 vegan calorie challenge. Well, first, I think it is fucking awesome that you are taking on a 10,000 calorie vegan challenge, golden one. When I do cheat meals or days, I go calorically dense. I let the inner fat kid out to play. For instance, I bake homemade vegan donuts and I top them with a homemade vegan frosting. Or I bake vegan chocolate chip cookies or a couple batches of vegan pancakes, which comes to about 40 plus pancakes, like 42 pancakes, which then I will top in maple and fruit syrups. I also love fries, and I'll do an assortment of sweet potato and regular oven-baked fries that I drizzle in coconut oil before I bake them, and of course I sea salt them, and then I top that with ketchup when it's all said and done. My cheats are far from healthy. They tend to be things that I normally do not consume and I just want to enjoy on an occasion. And I've done videos on some of this. In fact, I did a how-to video for my vegan donuts, which I will link in the description below. One batch of those donuts, for instance, comes to 3,520 calories. So if you're doing a 10K challenge, that's nearly half right there. That includes the frosting. I've also done a 4,000 calorie cheat meal video, not day, mind you, but a meal. And I will link that video in the description as well. Next question. How do you balance martial arts and lifting? For instance, I'm a boxer, so I do tend to lighten up on the front delts a bit. Do you feel that you've had to sacrifice one for the other? And do you feel you'd be bigger if you gave up martial arts, or be better a martial artist if you gave up bodybuilding? You can possess both admirable size and martial arts prowess. I think that myth that you can only have one or the other is total horseshit. I was always inspired by powerful martial artists,
like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, and Michael Jai White,
all of whom are martial arts stars who packed on size at one time or another. In fact, Lundgren is a practitioner of my form of karate, and that is the look I wanted to embody for myself as a martial artist.
Furthermore, Masao Oyama, founder of Kyokushin,
was a huge proponent of weight training. He even trained like a bodybuilder.
Another big influence of mine is the late Kyokushin and K1 champion, Andy Hoog,
who also combined weight training with his karate training. It is important to recognize your weight threshold for your height. For me, that is about 210 pounds. Above that weight, my speed takes a serious hit. I'm currently 192, so I actually have room to grow so long as I remain lean. I also feel it's important to cross-train. That way, as you add size, you're gradually handing the new size in application, instead of getting big and then suddenly trying to handle that bulk in an athletic way. This may sound like bro science, but I've found it serves me well, as my size has never slowed me down. In fact, I am faster and stronger, believe it or not, than I ever was before, despite being bigger now. I straddle the line of speed and power fighter, if you will. I've also copped a tip from Michael Jai White. I read an interview once where he said he approaches the bench press, for instance, like a punch. I've applied this thinking to my own training, explosive concentrics, visualizations. Furthermore, I see other exercises like, for instance, standing leg curls as working elements of a technique. In the case of leg curls, strengthening the hook aspect of a hook kick or back spinning kick. Just focus on getting strong while working on explosiveness too. Work on the big moves like the squat, the deadlift, the bench, and the overhead press. One more tip. When I have a fight, I cease all weight training 1 full week leading up to the fight. This prevents any residual soreness, tightness, and risk of injury that might hinder my performance on fight day. I also do not like fighting with a pump, even a tiny one. I like to be, loose and relaxed. What was the worst comment or encounter you've ever had by a non-vegan, and how did you react and respond? I can't say this is the worst, but in context it was the most offensive. I went down to visit my folks back in February. They live down in Maryland. I wasn't in their car for more than 30 minutes after arriving by train that I got poked about my veganism. My mother, who is a born-again Christian, decided to rant about how God approves killing animals for food, that it is their purpose in this planet to serve us, etc. That, you know, the spiel. Long story short, it led to a debate and nearly set a very bad tone for my entire trip to come. I told her that if she wants to use the God argument in debate, then she needs to actually first prove God's existence, as the burden of proof is on her to do so, not on me. And her evidence, of course, was the Bible proves God is real. But by that logic, Frankenstein must have also been real because he appeared in Mary Shelley's famous story. Have you ever worked out under any drugs or alcohol influence, and if so, elaborate, please? I do not drink, not a drop, nor do I use drugs, performance enhancing or recreational. That said, in 2012, before I was a vegan, I had tried a pre-workout powder that I got in an insane introductory discount. It was by Lecheek Nutrition, I think I'm pronouncing that properly, Lecheek. But I don't recall the precise product, or if it's even still in production, as it were. It may have been an early version of their Speed X3, I just don't recall precisely. I don't know what the fuck was in that shit, but I felt all varieties of fucked up during that workout. I felt insanely energized, but also cold, sweaty, and sick-like, and very nauseous. Like I wanted to crush weights, run sprints, but also vomit and die at the same time. I actually threw that shit in the garbage after I got home. What's your view on soy products, or soy in general? I like soy. I use it regularly. My protein powder contains 50% soy isolate combined with pea and rice, and I consume upwards of 30 ounces of tofu daily. It's high in protein, and it's also low in carbohydrates, therefore it's very flexible and versatile. And despite the fear-mongering, the body of research on soy is primarily neutral, and the remainder is positive. What do you think about the raw food diet? Raw's cult-like proclaimed superiority is not supported by the body of existing research that's out there. Case-by-case examples, like with corn, mushrooms, and tomatoes, and I've covered this in previous videos, show that certain nutrient properties are actually enhanced by cooking, and toxins are actually reduced or eliminated. And what nutrients are lost can be obtained from foods that are excellent consumed raw, like fruit, such as vitamin C. Thus, I actually advocate a mixed diet of both cooked and raw foods where appropriate. Do you travel a lot, and if so, how has it been for you, the vegan scene in different cities, countries, restaurants, people, openness, grocery stores, fruits and veggies, etc.? Whatever you want to talk about. Was it harder or easier at some places, and what do you usually do to make it easier for you if you have some kind of a ritual? I travel a fair bit. New York City, where I live, is the best place yet for veganism, or so I feel. Los Angeles is pretty damn good too, and Maryland isn't bad. Really, it isn't difficult finding plentiful vegan options in the States. Unless, of course, you live in the middle of fucking Nowheresville on the corner of Fuckall Street. But in the case of those living in those remote conditions, you may just need to do a lot of your own cooking and preparation, like beans, rice, veggies, fruit, nuts, and seeds. Those things should be readily available everywhere. Now, as for abroad, Australia I've found to be alright. London, UK is easy. It's about as easy as New York City. So is the West Midlands in the UK, such as Oswestry in Shropshire.
In London, there's this sick vegan and gluten-free bakery in Camden Town in the market called Cookies and Scream.
When I was visiting London in 2014, I probably paid their rent for a month. The hardest place was Santorini. Luckily, I always do my homework and travel prepared. This trip prep involved speaking to a Greek friend of mine. I brought some vegan protein powder with me and just consumed local fruits, beans, nuts, and seeds otherwise, aside from the protein powder. I love fava beans, actually, and Fava beans are absolutely fantastic in Santorini due to the volcanism and the soil conditions, and the fruit there is just fucking amazing too. If you were hired as an actor to, or for the next big superhero film, what kind of superhero would you want to be? Laugh out loud. Or what superhero that already exists would you want to be? Or both questions. I know, silly, but you look so much like one. Not really superheroes.
But I'd love to play the Punisher. I'd also enjoy playing the Crow.
Both have very powerful backstories. Now, stepping outside the realm of heroes,
I'd also enjoy facing off against the Predator in one of those installments.
I think you're in New York right now. Would you be willing to meet some new friends if some people were going there and want to meet you? I'm in Montreal. Yes, I live in Manhattan, and sure, but I would have to prepare for it based on my schedule in advance, if I'm able to. I am packed very, very tight usually, such as life. So do give me a heads up if you have something in the works, but I can't make any guarantees. I'm curious, what else do you do except being an awesome vegan vlogger, bodybuilder? What is your jobs and hobbies, etc., if it's not too personal? Well, I'm also a martial artist, as you probably gathered from an earlier question. I'm a guitarist. This is actually my newest baby, which I had recently customized. I love this thing. It's beautiful. Plays like a treat. It's probably my best electric guitar that I own. And I have Les Pauls and all sorts of stuff, but this thing is just beautiful. I also sing, write songs, and write poetry, and I'm actually working on a solo music project right now. Furthermore, I have a degree in the fine arts, and I have been drawing since I was 2. My favorite mediums are graphite, pastels, and charcoal. I'm very artistically inclined, actually, which just runs in my immediate family. Compared to how it was before, how is your libido since you've been vegan? Did you have lower or higher periods of libido at some point? And if so, what do you think it was related to? Always intake zinc? Libido, just like natural hormone levels, it rises and it falls in everyone. There is no stagnancy. But I am generally very high in libido. I'd say my sex drive is well above average for a guy, and that has not really been affected by veganism one way or the other. What has noticeably improved is my blood flow, and all the good shit that entails, both in the gym and in the bedroom, for me and a partner. Are vegan girls better in bed? Laugh out loud. Okay, you don't have to answer that one. And do you think your performance is better since you have been vegan? Laugh out loud. I've only slept with one vegan girl, and while she was very active in the bedroom, which I actually prefer, she wasn't any different than the active omnivores and vegetarians that I've also slept with. I've also had my share of women who are quite boring in bed, to be honest, as well. I think it has little to do with diet and everything to do with experience, personality, and sexuality, as well as personal tastes and standards. As for my performance, I did mention before that my blood flow is far better as an active vegan than as an active vegetarian. I recently had hand surgery, which then got infected. All of my calluses were removed. What's the best way to catch up to where I was before lifting and to rebuild the calluses? Well, really just through work, basically. Don't use gloves. Deadlifts have actually built my calluses the most due to the weight overload and, of course, the hard grip that's required. But due to muscle memory, you should bounce back quicker than it took you to reach your previous level from scratch. Just be mindful of training around your hand's recovery, assuming that it's not fully healed yet. I would definitely suggest you speak with your doctor and possibly a physical therapist. How many times a week should a healthy couple enjoy each other sexually? I don't think there's a set answer for that. I guess however many times a week that keeps both partners satisfied would probably be the best answer. And that will vary, of course. Me personally, I could want sex 3 or more times a day, easily. So for me, it's a daily thing, not a weekly thing. And this is why it's important to find a similar partner. I would imagine a low libido partner would drive a high libido partner insane, and vice versa. A low libido partner would just not cut it for me. Give me your opinion on monogamous, open, and polyamorous relationships. I'm a one-woman kind of guy. I believe in being faithful and honest, and I believe in a foundation of trust. And that trust extends beyond just sexual exclusivity in a relationship, but also trusting health status. If you sleep around and are careless, you could put your partner at risk. I strongly dislike the player and pickup artist scene. It takes maturity and balls to commit and fully love one woman. Assuming that one woman is someone deserving of your love and devotion, that is. Have dignity and have self-respect. Find a partner worthy of you, but also at the same time, be a partner that someone would be proud to have. The door swings both ways, in my opinion. I expect a faithful girl in return for my own faithfulness, and I detest dishonesty and manipulation. And I do not do polyamorous, and I do not do open relations. I mean, why spread myself thin when I can devote myself to one worthy girl? See, I prefer substance, quality over quantity, if you will. I firmly believe that if someone needs to step out and cheat, that they should reevaluate their relationship. There is obviously something wrong, and perhaps it is time to either cut ties, or try to fix it if that something can actually be repaired. A breakup may hurt, but cheating on someone will actually do far greater damage in the long run. So anyway, those were all the questions that I thought were really good for this particular Q&A. Again, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions, but I was very selective this time since I got so many. It doesn't mean they won't appear in a future Q&A. Anyway, I will see you guys for another episode coming up soon. Until then, stay fit, stay formidable, and stay fantastic. See you around.